So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mia, and I'm a doctoral student at the University of Minnesota. Hopefully, we'll be done with my program soon. I have two hats in my academic life. My research is about science education. I'm in the science education program in the Department of Curriculum Instruction. I'm interested in science education and early childhood. Another hat is I work on a project that does professional development program in science and math for Head Start teachers that incorporates cultural elements. So that's another thing. But I'm here to present my research, and I think it couldn't be more timely managed because the first talk was about intervention, the second was about science and math, and I'm going to talk about science education, studying science education in order to do some intervention. So it's a good mix. But before I start, I'd like you to do a little exercise. Take a paper or a pen, and please just draw a scientist for me, okay?
Draw science?
Draw a scientist. You don't have to show it to anyone, just keep it to yourself. It doesn't have to be, a Picasso or Rembrandt. Okay, that's pretty. Okay, so let's start. So why is science? Science is really built on children' innate curiosity. They grow, they learn a new language and environment and want to learn about this environment, how things work, how the world operates. So science is there to work, teach, and allow them to explore the world. But it's not just about content. It's more, I see science as a way of thinking, problem solving, and all the good things that we want our future citizens to have, to be independent thinkers and get to a problem, be able to solve it. So science, as I see that, inquiry process, help them achieve that by help them develop the thinking skills. And science is, especially in preschool and early childhood, is perfect. You can teach vocabulary through science, math, of course. You can go out, you can do experiments that, have them move around. So why, teach anything else? Just teach science and all is in there. However, science is not taught often in early childhood, and we can have a whole talk about why is that. But one of the reasons is really the public stereotype of science is hard, it's difficult, and scientists are, if you can look at your drawings, male, females. Who has a male scientist? Can you raise your hand? Okay. Who is a female scientist? So it's pretty even. Who has a scientist who works with chemicals? Okay. Who works outside? One, yeah. Who's a really messy mad scientist with crazy hair and glasses? Yeah. Okay. So what we see here is what research finds all over with elementary school students, college students, teachers. So science is not really for early childhood, and of course it's wrong. And this stereotype, we see that young children really enjoy science. They love doing the experiments and experimenting and trying things. But towards the end of elementary school, there is a really drop in attitudes, so they don't like science. The whole stereotypical issue comes in. It's not for girls, it's too difficult, and scientists are really geeks. So that pushes in. And the idea of going to really early childhood is to try and develop intervention that will keep them, their attitude really positive and excited about science. So that's why I'm focusing on early childhood. And again, this is preaching to the choir because you all believe why early childhood is important. Children develop their concepts, their attitudes, and misconceptions, as you know, are hard to change. It's better to form a good, true conception about science, about scientists, about any other thing early than try and correct this misconception. Cost-effective studies show that investment in early childhood have the highest returns back, and the AAS, American Association for Advancement of Science, if you know, Project 2061, more than a decade ago, just call for more studies in early childhood. Okay, but it's challenging. It's challenging because we can't just give them paper and pencil surveys and ask them to fill them out. It's challenging because we can't build on them expressing exactly what they think, because they don't have this, not all of them, this expressive language. Short attention span, biased answers, kind of social desirability. Some of they don't like to talk to strangers. So just having experimenters going into preschools and studying children is not the best effective way. And what I decided to do, because I really wanted to study preschoolers, is to develop a tool, a computer program that will be like a game, and will help gather their thoughts and views about science and sciences. Okay, so developing the instrument was a necessity. There wasn't anything that I knew of in the field of science education that I could use with preschoolers. So I had to develop the program. It will not be as neat as the one that we just saw with the videos and songs, but it's kind of a homemade thing. And then use this program to study what they think about science and scientists. If we can see any group differences, gender, age, different schools. Do they have the stereotype that older children and adults hold about scientists, about the med scientists? And if we see any subgroup differences. The instrument was developed in a course of about almost 2 years, in 2 phases. So first, interviews with practitioners, review of the literature, visiting in a lot of early childhood classes just to see what they have there and what their science curricula is, focus group with preschoolers, and then the experimental phase was to do a pilot with 30 kids, and larger study that was completed last summer. And the product, you'll see a little bit of it. It's very child-friendly, developmentally appropriate. It's a touch screen, so they listen to instructions, they touch either their finger or a special pen. And I wish I had the iPad then, because it's just a perfect tool for that. But it's very easy to use. What else? There are 2 different tests, one about science, it looks at science objects and science activities, and one about scientists that look at their appearance, tools that they use, and the environment they work in. And for each test, there were 2 different tasks. One is a picture task, where they look at 4 pictures and they need to touch the picture that fits best the instruction. The second is a movie task, where they watch a short video and then they answer questions. And there are 3 cute doggy figures on the screen, and they touch the yes, no, or I don't know, and you'll be able to see that. So the first I want to share with you the different constructs and the tasks. This will be the science one. And please notice this is a picture test. There are 3 pictures that represent science and 1 that is a non-science picture.
Great job! Do you know what science is? Look at the pictures carefully. Then, touch a picture showing science.
And again, this is a touch screen, but here
Are there any other pictures showing science? Touch all all science pictures you see. If there aren't any, touch the blue arrow. Thanks. Let's play again. Look at the pictures carefully. Then, touch a picture showing science.
That's my son's voice. Okay, so that's the science area. You have 3 science pictures and 1 non-science picture. That will be the science object. So it's a little bit different than the concept of science. It's things that children usually have at the preschool in their science area.
Do you know some schools have science centers with different science objects? In this game, touch a picture showing the science object. When you're done, touch the blue arrow. Are there any other pictures showing science objects? Touch all science objects you see. If there aren't any, touch the blue arrow.
And as you can see, it was very important to me to get their first insight of science, but also to explore more complex ideas. So science is not just one thing, but we think more, but they do want to know what is the first one that they thought of as science. And that's the third one, which is a science activity.
Have you ever participated in the science activity? Look at the pictures carefully. Then, touch a picture showing the science activity. Are there any other pictures showing a science activity? Touch all pictures showing science activity. If there aren't any, touch the blue arrow.
Okay, so this gives you an idea about what the picture test is like, and you'll see later a picture of the scientist. Now, for the movie task, remember they saw short 10-15 seconds clips of either kids doing science activities or adults doing different jobs that they were asked if these are scientists or not. And they had 3 doggy figures that they could touch for yes, no, and I don't know. And what I'll share with you now is the training session. For each task there was a training for the picture and for the movie, and they started the test only after they completed the training session. There are 2 videos embedded in there, but I cut them, so you'll see just, teeny tiny of them. But you
In
get
this
the idea.
game, you're going to watch short videos. After the video, I will ask you a few questions, and you can reply by touching one of the doggy figures below. Let's practice. Ready? Watch the first video carefully. That was a fun video. Now, listen carefully to my questions. Was the girl in the movie jumping? Yes, she was. Touch the doggy that signs yes.
He's really to teach them, which doggy means what, so take them gradually through that.
Did the girl in the movie eat pizza? No, she didn't. Touch the doggy that signs no. What is the girl's name? We don't know. Touch the doggy that signs I don't know. Great job! Let's practice
The
one more
second
time.
part of the training, they will
Watch the
have
next
all the
short
doggies
movie.
active, and here the boy was washing his
Thanks for watching so nicely. Now listen to my questions. Was the boy in the movie sliding down the slide?
And if they answer incorrectly, then they get the same question again. If they do that number of times and they do not pass, then
How
they
old is the
do
boy
not
in the
go to
movie?
the test.
The boy in the movie washed his hands. Do you wash your hands at school? You are awesome. Let's play again.
Okay, so that was the training. I wasn't sure about how they respond with the I don't know, but it went pretty well. And during the test also, if they weren't sure about something, they just touched the I don't know, which I think is a good function. Okay, and about the scientists, so I wanted to look at really, if they have a stereotype about scientists, if they hold the stereotype that all their kids have. So I looked at gender, I looked at lab coat, glasses, age, messy. So this is really the first one about lab coat, no lab coat, and gender. This is the messy versus the very neat one. Some scary pictures there. Look at ethnicity. And I also looked at tools that scientists use, if they can tell which tool a scientist might use. Okay, so that's the instrument. The large study, I had 146 participants, most of them in the science, and only 48 kids in the scientist due to some program error that lost a lot of the data. Thank you. Which is very sad. This is the age. Who were mostly 4 and 5-year-olds. Girls, more girls than boys, and more older girls than the rest of the subgroups. I had 5 different locations that I did the study. So University of Minnesota Lab School, Head Start classroom on the reservation, which is the other project that I work on. And 2 private preschools and the Minnesota Children's Museum that I just had a table there and try to get to population of kids who do not go to preschool. Okay, so most children in the study have a clear view about science. They know what science is. They know what is not science. They do not think that science is only for girls or only for boys. Older kids perform better on the task. I did find some group differences, but not something that I can say. Like in the pilot project, pilot study that I had with 30 kids, it was amazing. You know, the girls voted for the nature, object, and like the younger kids, nothing like that in the big study. So, non-science objects, and we'll see that later, I think that are more static. So maybe they associate science with more active and dynamic. And science activity is something, it's not just something that you do, but you have a purpose or investigative purpose. So a girl who collects caterpillars in the playground, that's probably not science activity, but a group of kids who observe something with magnifying glass or ask questions, that is science. So it's not just activity, but it's some purposeful activity. Okay, so how do I know that they have view about science? I took here all their success, right? So if on the first touch they touch a picture that is science, that's a success. If they touch a picture that is not science, that's a failure. And then I divided it by the number of sessions. So the right column over there is kids that were successful in all their sessions. 15 of them were successful on 11 sessions. I think 9 more that completed 10 sessions, but it's way, you see, it's not a number, it's very skewed. On, a regular chance, 3 out of 4, then that will be chance, and the group chance is somewhere here. And that's across the whole session of the science, so I think we had like 864 different sessions and 92 subjects on there. So the group did pretty well. I looked at their votes. So blue is the first touch, red is the second touch, and green is the third touch. Some were very clear where the non-science is non-science, while others got a little bit messy, wasn't as clear. Okay. So when I look at the pictures first, I want to look at the non-science pictures. And these are the pictures that were clearly not science. Thank you. Kids did not think that science. And as you can see, these are all very static objects, except for the pedicate game, which was a picture in the science activity. So all 4 pictures presented some kind of activity. But these pictures were clearly, statistically significant non-science pictures. These pictures were also voted as voted or chosen less than science pictures, but at a lower level, 95% level. You do see some action there. And these 2 pictures, from some reason, were chosen, at the same level of the science pictures. I have some ideas of why, but now about the science. So these are, this is what the children considered as science. I mean, as the large group. Pictures that were chosen significantly more than other pictures. Boys also considered space, and the older boys considered weather to be science. And girls added the plant and this chemical reaction. And the younger girls thought about colors, and the reason this picture is there, groups, then kids mention coloring as science. So I included it there. Looking at science objects, so we have, these are the science object pictures chosen by the entire group. Girls, the younger group, chose also the shells, leaves, and binoculars. And the younger boys added these, and these are magnets that are often in preschools. And the older boys added the seed and binoculars as well. And science activities, and again, you can see, it's not only boys or only girls, inside or outside. It's really balanced. The older boys added this pond activity. Younger boys looked at the magnifying glass activity, and younger girls were all over. About scientists. So I was very happy to see that they do not have this stereotypical image. So scientists are not messy or old people, or it's everyone know nothing about ethnicity. So even I think the non-white pictures were chosen more than the white. So the only thing was lab coat. So the people wearing lab coat were chosen significantly more. But on the movie test, there was a question about do all scientists wear lab coats, and the answer was no. The funny thing is that I had one video with a man giving a talk, and the audience really laughs. And one of the questions was, are scientists funny people? And they all said no. So scientists are not. And the tools that scientists use, these are tools that were chosen, and interestingly, I also had a sheet with all the pictures and just asked them to see if they recognize the pictures. And many of them did not recognize microscope, but still they voted it for something that scientists use. Books, I don't know if, it's fortunate or unfortunate, are not considered as science, or something that scientists use at all. It was chosen like rake. So I don't know. Maybe I should have a tablet, or I did have a computer, which was chosen. Okay, so the instrument, I found it a good way to use as a research instrument. Kids were really excited about participating. They wanted to do it again and again. I think I had only one who did not complete the 2 tests, or one of the tests. The choice, clearly they did not vote by chance. They did understand the question, they follow instructions, so it was a good tool. Majority of the group at the age of 4 has a clear view about science, which maybe is very intuitive, but that was not known until today. So that's very exciting. If you want to start intervention, I think this is the age. And again, scientists wear lab coats, but they don't have to, and it's really, they don't share any of the stereotypical image. Some of the limitations, small numbers, pictures really fixed in groups of 4, so each picture was chosen based on the rest of the pictures, of course. And we don't have the whys, but just what they think, but not why or why not. Special thanks for people who funded and developed the instrument and modeled for that. That's it. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes.
Have you given these same items to an adult population just to see what would happen?
In a non-formal, I mean, the original way was to compare it to older kids, 4th graders or 5th graders. I did not get to do that, but just from informally, having friends and colleagues at the university or teachers, they were all going for the 3 science pictures. And,
omitting the 1.
Yeah. Although we science people say that everything is science. Of course, but I'm looking at the public, yes.
Did you look at children's TV shows that they might watch that may be related to their knowledge about science, like Sid the Science Kid?
Which is an excellent show, I think.
Right.
No, I did not do that, but research does show that a lot of the stereotype, especially about the mad scientist in the early age, is from books and movies and show. And I also did not correlate that with things that they do in preschool, so I did not ask for the teachers, what they have done for future study, absolutely. Thank you very much.